Just start. Hmm, George?
Hello, Yuri.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, hi. It was a brief glitch here. A long time no see. Your campaign is going ahead full steam. What's happening? Tell me what's going on. Tell us what's the word in the streets.
Well, we have an army of people out on the street knocking on doors, talking to different businesses, and people are starting to notice our campaign, notice our signs, starting to be aware that there's an election June 24th. I don't think people in May were aware about all the election stuff going on, but obviously the mayoral election ramped up 1,000%. So I think people are now like
Mhm.
waking up to the fact that there's other elections going on at the same time.
No, absolutely. People are talking about the signs of all kinds. And let me ask you, what's the procedure just for the uninitiated? Tell us what's the procedure? How do you post a sign on someone's property? How does it work? You just do it, or you go and you ask to be invited for a cup of tea, and then you discuss it over the tea or coffee or
Well,
whatever?
I mean, in someone's business, it's going to be a lot easier. You're going to knock on the business owner's door, or go inside, or go talk to them and tell them a little bit about what you're planning for the community. And it takes a couple of minute conversation before they'll let you put up a sign or a poster or whatever. Uh, Unlike my opponent, when we talk to homes, we like to actually get their approval before we put a sign up. I've heard from
Mhm.
multiple people that people have been putting up signs from my opponent and they didn't even get permission. Um, so you actually have to actually talk to the homeowner, have a connection. The homeowner likes what you're saying, and at the end of the conversation, you ask them like, "Well, listen, besides your need, please come out and vote for me, right? Can you support me by putting up a sign in your lawn, your beautiful house?" And sometimes, I would say the majority they say no because they have a beautiful home, they have a beautiful lawn, they've invested a lot of time and effort to make their home beautiful. But
They're not in the mood to defend it from brick throwing crowds.
well,
There's
it's
no time for this, right?
yeah. I don't think you're gonna have to throw. I don't think people are gonna throw a brick here in Bay Ridge or Bath Beach, but I don't know if I would put it up in some parts of Coney Island.
Are you going back and forth sometimes on the 70s on the Fifth Avenue in your area? That's very specific mood down up there.
What area are we talking about specifically?
It's used to be a Greek area, and now it's more of a Muslim area where all the rallies take place. And those people have to be, communicated with. You have to approach them as well. And I find that from my very small experience, just one season, I found that I could kind of talk to them. I come from a Muslim country, from Uzbekistan, and there is a lot of values that brought people here, but they kind of get carried away. They come into America, they start criticizing this country. Our country is very open to criticism. You cannot criticize the country if you come from Iraq, your own country, when you live there. You cannot criticize Emirates. You cannot criticize Qatar. If you live there, in Russia, you are very careful about criticizing your country. But when you come here, it's like, you know, um,
Well, I want to be fair here. The
yeah,
majority of people up in that community are working hard. They're building their business.
no question about it.
They don't want to be involved with the political stuff. They just want good schools for their kids. They want their wives, their wife, and their daughters and sons to be safe on the streets of New York. They're not interested in the day to day what's going on in the Middle East. They're more interested here, what's going on here in New York City. Uh, but listen, I'm really focused on the issues here in our community. I don't want to get pulled into the Israeli-Palestinian issue or the Ukrainian-Russian issue. That's not really what I'm here for. I'm here to make sure There's cops on the street. The garbage gets collected. The streets are clean. We're taking care of people that need a little extra help, that are a little down on their luck. All those issues are what are important to me. I'm not running for the, Secretary of State or whatever.
No, you got to bring some wet blankets because people are all. What kind of interference we have there? We are. You got to carry a bunch of wet blankets with you when you go talk to some groups here, because people are all worked up and they start asking everybody and their uncle about the world politics and what do you think about this, and there is no really a safe ground for an American.
Well, listen, I'm definitely not a neocon. I'm definitely not. I think the United States is over involved overseas. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I think we need to really focus on our country. There's a lot of people in this country that are
There's a
suffering.
lot of work to be done.
We have roads that need to be fixed. We have infrastructure that needs to be repaired. We have people that are sleeping on the streets. I think that we need to spend more money here at home in America.
We could criticize Europe a lot, but roads are very good in Europe, and subway, underground, whatever you call it, a metro, it's all kind of much cleaner and looks very modern compared to.
There's consequences, let's say, in some of those places when you mess around in the subway, when you urinate on the subway or you do graffiti. You actually get arrested, Not like here, they'll just write you a ticket and you don't show up to court or whatever,
Yeah, that's the big difference. Also, the one of the important things there is that it's much cheaper to build than it is here. Of course, we understand that there's a lot of powerful interests, even underground, when we talk about subways here, and all the intersections, all the engineering, the age of the city, etc., etc., etc. And still the oldest.
You know how much the Second Avenue subway costs per mile?
$2 billion.
$2.5 billion.
$2.5 billion. So last time I checked, it was two.
Yes, and just a little little background here. We were trying to do some business with the MTA, and we needed electrical outlets. And we quote for an electrical outlet, $25,000 per outlet to put in. That's what the MTA.
For one outlet.
One electrical outlet would cost $25,000 to put in, so we could do some business with them. And we were like, they gave us some kind of bill, and we were like, with this bill, we could build a whole house. We're only talking 20 outlets, that we needed, and it was some crazy. I mean, if the MTA it costs $25,000 to put an outlet in, imagine what it costs to expand the subway system.
Yeah, that's stunning, and to modernize it. And Elon Musk is there with his boring company, he calls it, and then he laughs right away. A boring company because they bore through the rock. That's why it's called boring company. He's a fun guy, but we'll need him here.
Thing. What do you think about the Elon Musk and Trump thing?
Oh, I was a little bit upset, just a little bit, for like about 78 minutes and 15 seconds. I was upset about all that because I thought that it would be like a morality tale, like something that could happen in the medieval times. Almost said Mediterranean, but that too. But so it would be like an old feud between the families, like in the Romeo and Juliet type of deal. But it was very fast, and they both kind of came to senses. And Elon Musk kind of started now putting hearts as of this morning. He started putting little heart emojis on Donald Trump's tweets, and he quickly buried everything nasty. Almost everything he removed, but what's left there got buried under the pile of newer information, pictures of the SpaceX about to launch and this and that, and space exploration, all the good things. So his mind is kind of occupied now, and meantime, Doge is working. Doge is busy. They canceled this morning. They canceled 610,000 credit cards that were registered with the government.
Wow, wow, that's a
They killed.
astronomical number.
I don't know even how much money. What was the limit on those cards? I guess it wasn't $100, but still, they had those accounts, expense accounts, with the departments they worked for, with the bureaus they worked for. So the thing is kind of rolling, and I admire this country, the country we live in. I'm proud of it. I don't want to emulate Michelle Obama, because I was a number of times proud of this country. But as she said, remember, she said, finally, I'm proud of this country. But really, something is going on right now that is quick reaction, very fast. And I was wondering, looking at what's going on in LA now. What's your opinion? Is it kind of contagious? Is it what kind of this thing could portend for the rest of the country? Because we have a lot of cities with a lot of young people who don't know what to do with themselves, and they travel too.
Well,
Where
listen, I think Giuliani said it best many years ago. He said, "I believe in your right to protest. I believe that you can yell, you can scream, you can show up at a
can
protest.
you move a little bit closer to the microphone, George? I have trouble hearing you.
You have a right to protest. You have a right to yell. You have a right to scream. You have the right to show up with a sign. Until you pick up a brick and throw it through a window, or you burn somebody's car, or get violent out on the streets." I would say my policy is the same as Giuliani. You have a right to protest. You have a right to scream and yell about something that you find is unjust. But you don't have a right to destroy somebody's property. You don't have a right to set up fire to somebody's car. You don't have a right to, hurt people out on the street that don't agree with you or just trying to protect their home or their business. With that being said, I believe, like I said, my doctrine would be the Giuliani doctrine. You have a right to protest. You have a right to speak up, but up to a point. And what Trump is doing by calling in the National Guard, I think things have gotten out of hand there. And we have outside agitators that need to be investigated, networks of real money that are organizing these events, that are bringing people together, that are spending big money, that they're. I mean, I even saw pictures of pallets of bricks. Now, is that a conspiracy theory? Is that for real? I don't know. I'm not on the ground, but definitely the FBI needs to be, investigating what the hell is going on, because there's definitely big money behind these protests. There was an ad in Craigslist for people to make trouble. I mean, again, these are all part of signs of a conspiracy. Now, I'm not an FBI. I'm not an FBI guy, so I don't know what's real and what's not. And I'm not on the ground.
Yeah, it's I foresee it as a major concern for all of us, and the news outlets outside of Fox News and others like One American News or Newsmax, they're talking about the hot summer. They talk about possible riots here and there, but this idea, I think, is I don't know. It's kind of illogical to come to the United States and then wave Mexican flag. Uh, that
Why
kind
you're
of
destroying American property? Destroying people's property.
yeah. You here, you're in the country you want to live in, and you behaving anti-American, but without the law, without the Americans, there would be no America. I understand. If everybody becomes something else, then this country becomes something else. It has
Listen,
to be
you
maintained.
you should have some. I hear the most Trumpian things about immigrants from immigrants who have been here 15, 20 years. They're saying, "Hey, I came here. I put in the work. I did what I had to do." And the people that have come in the last couple of years under the Biden administration are gaming the system, staying in at some luxury hotel, getting all kinds of benefits, getting free cell phone. I mean, they sound more Trump than Trump himself. They're like, deport all these people. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. They're like, yeah, I don't care. They're like, I put in 15, 20 years in this country. I worked construction. I worked all kinds of crappy jobs. I saved up every penny. I bought a home. These people are coming here and they're getting all kinds of benefits that I never even had a chance to get. So, so they're with Trump. You know,
No,
that's
someone came here like 5, 10 years ago, worked in construction, as you said, did the what the day worker job, stood on the corner of Bay Ridge Avenue and 18th Avenue. There used to be a place. Now it's all over. Wherever there's a Home Depot, there are people who are illegals, migrants, whatever you call them, all creeds and colors. They stand there waiting for someone to ask for services to do this, remove that, lift that. Uh, people work for very little money, like $3. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, probably there was such a rate. But and they raised up the social ladder, so to speak, and they got better jobs, and they naturalized, and now they're making like 25 an hour. And people, and they worked in construction, but they advanced materially. And now somebody comes and offers their services to do the same job for like $5 again. So
what's great. I would add to your story there is that their kids, they're not working those same jobs. They're going to school and getting all kinds of professional jobs. They're going to colleges. They're going up the ladder, right? They're not staying where they're at. Not
yeah.
everything, obviously, but there's 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 a lot of success stories in that story that you're saying.
Yeah, I welcome wholeheartedly people growing when they come here legally. This is important because this is people need resources. They come and they need schools, they need garbage removal, they need hospitals, they need stores, garbage cans, all those kind of things. And it's based on the orderly existence here. You just cannot have enough if you have no knowledge about the numbers, how people reside and live in such places as New York City. But generally, I welcome immigration. I'm an immigrant myself, and I came here legally. And I came here after, like, I don't know, I was 36 years old. Out of this, I would be for 25 years probably. No, let's count from when I was from 1973 when I started listening to the Voice of America, and was the
I was
time.
born. That's when I was born,
Yeah,
1973.
yeah, and I was listening to the radio and was Russian programs, and Elton John was having his first U.S. tour. So I still love his music and other songs that I listen. So that's when I think I started kind of consciously, knowingly love this country and try to learn a lot about it. And it's of course was really a grain of sand compared to the real knowledge that you can obtain about this country experience. And for a second, I won't believe that this country has spilled less blood to get where it's now than other countries. Was people worked very hard to get where they are now and to provide the prosperity, to provide the well-being, to provide the American cockiness, even, it also comes from this foundation, which is very strong in our country, that built in 250 years, built uh, no less than France did in like 2000 years, 1500 years, probably, not less, and any country in the world for that matter. But listen, the main thing to me, and maybe I asked you about this, but it's very important to bring more business into your district because this is important. This is a good example for people. They go, their wives, they go along, they stroll along the Third Avenue, Fifth Avenue here, and they hear from their wives, let's have a business like this, let's have a store like this, then we can afford the house, and it provides services. How can we do this with the prices for real estate, for the taxes, the services that I spent today? I spent almost 4 hours on the phone trying to straighten out to get to the human resources department for my parents. 4 hours on hold.
Yeah, I
I
have.
was doing other things. I had my earpiece on in rather, and 4 hours, and they said, "Oh, we have a problem. Goodbye. Call later." I never got a person. Never got a person.
It's not,
So
What department were you calling for your parents?
Oh, it was a problem with their insurance card. So that was out of curiosity. I decided to press. I want a Russian operator, so Russian speaking operator. So that was probably one of. Maybe there was no one in the room. That
Well,
happens too. They just have the system on, and they say wait, and music's playing. Nice American music,
maybe
on and on.
Hakeem Jeffries to help you.
It could be, could be. But listen, how to bring more business into the city? Less taxes, more business. They say when you tax less, there's more revenue. The story goes.
Well, I think
What's your belief?
what's going on here is there's a lot of little fees on all of your bills that
Hmm.
are affecting the ability to open up a business. I'll give you one example. If you open up a corporation in December, right? You open it up December 20th, 25th, and you never get around to implementing your business, your business plan, and you didn't make $1, right?
Hmm.
Start out the business. You put $50 in the account. You just have a checking account. You got the corporation book. The city of New York will still charge you a corporate tax of $300.
George, can you move a little bit closer to the microphone because have very bad audio.
Yeah, is that better?
They still charge you for basically creating jobs, right?
You didn't even create a job. You just filed a corporation at the end of the
Mhm.
year. You didn't even get to the creating anything. You're just like, oh, let me file the corporation. Let me get started.
Mhm.
So if you filed this in December or any time of the year and you didn't really start until the following year, you still got to pay $300. I'm just giving this as one example
Mhm.
how the city is not favorable towards businesses. And it's all those little nuisance fees and penalties and taxes that make it very hard for somebody to open up a business. I would say also, as a councilman, I would have classes and seminars on helping the new business owners how to do QuickBooks, how to answer the phone, how to get more customers. A lot of new entrepreneurs don't have some of the basic skills. I know that because I sell to a lot of those businesses credit card processing over the years. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, a lot of times they would call me for help, but I think it's just so many of them. You can't help everybody, and I don't have the resources. This is but as a councilman, I would try to help some of my local businesses with those questions. With maybe training, or I would also the one thing I would be very motivated to do is come up with some kind of program where if a business has been around for 100 years or 80 years, there comes a time when the family doesn't want it anymore. The grandkids or great grandkids, they don't want to
Yeah.
operate a restaurant, for example, right? They're professionals, there's lawyers, doctors, and they're like, I don't want to run a restaurant. Maybe if we have some kind of financing program through the city of New York where the employees can buy the business and take it over. Because who knows how to run that business better than the employees? Uh, so I would say, little things like that could add up to a lot more prosperity in a district or opportunities.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of studying how it's made in other countries, how it's done there, because we should not only kind of look at ourselves as some know-it-alls and the best, most knowledgeable people. We got to learn from a lot of places, and when we see foreign chefs on TV, they definitely know something, at least how to get on the American TV, with the dishes and how to build a restaurant. And there is a lot of knowledge all over the world, and Americans were very good at picking up the best of the best and bringing it to this country or implementing it in this country. And that's amazing thing. People working, hardworking people of Latin America say they work they're fantastic workers. They learn fast and they stay on track, and many they much less they're less prone to drugs than many ethnicities from other places,
Well, I think
including
everyone.
our own.
I think everyone has those drug issues. I think some people are better at not talking about it than others. I think addiction is an issue that is across the world. That's a problem. I mean, obviously, I don't think we're doing enough in this country, and obviously, the fentanyl is the big problem here, and we're not. I mean, hopefully, Trump will be able to close the border to fentanyl and crack down on it. I believe the Chinese government, if they wanted to, they could easily crack down on that problem tomorrow. You know, but they choose not to because there's a lot of money in it, and there's probably corrupt government officials that are making money behind the scenes, and it probably serves their plan to destabilize the United States somewhat.
So, what's the current state of the Republican Party? Let us into the struggle that is party is going through right now without supporting Donald Trump, but still counting themselves as Republicans. And this is the state of our Brooklyn Republican Party. We don't hear much about Donald Trump, a Republican president, a New Yorker.
Remember, the Brooklyn Republican Party, 2016 was a big Jeb Bush supporter. Then 2020, they loved Nikki Haley. Some of them. I mean, it's not these people are not Trump friendly. We don't have any infrastructure. We have no office, no Lincoln dinner or Reagan dinner, whatever you want to call it. Someplace it's called a Reagan dinner. No place to go together and gather as fellow Republicans. And most importantly, the guy I'm running against, the former chairman, had dropped the ball in certain elections. I mean, he lost the Senate run in a district that was 50% for Trump, and a Democrat just won it. That's number one. And two, we have a councilwoman on the other side who's a Democrat who's unchallenged. I mean, if you say, listen, my opponent was a former police officer, and listen, I appreciate his service, but if you're going to back the blue, you gotta run somebody against us, somebody who bit a cop. I mean, we have a councilwoman who's sitting on the city council who bit a police officer, and we're not running a Republican against this person. Like, well, what the hell? I mean, so this just shows you the state of our party. And obviously, you're very invested in the Ina Vernikov race, where we have 70-80% of the Russian community are, Republicans, and we're dividing up that community. I mean, what the hell are we doing there? We could easily damage both candidates, and a Democrat could just slip right in there. So why would we attack a sitting councilwoman who's a good Republican who got called out by Trump? Trump called out her name at an event. I don't know if your audience knows that or doesn't know that. And obviously her star is rising, and this is the person we're running somebody against.
Listen, if Republicans lose and we are not in the race, I am not in the race, so I can't think of such an option, which is not an option actually. I don't want it to happen, but it should be squarely put in the lap of Republican Party, because they sow this discord top to bottom between the Republicans.
Well, I would add it's also the current chairman's fault, and that's the guy who's running against me.
Yeah.
So if you want mediocrity as a councilman, vote for the other guy. If you want somebody who has experience, who knows not only politics but business, who knows opportunity, who knows what the hell he's doing, knows what a spreadsheet looks like, vote for this guy.
This guy on screen is George Sarantopoulos.
Thank you very much, Gary. I love it.
Oh, candidate. George, I wish you every luck. I wish you to win and your opponent to lose this race significantly, because you look like an honest and good-natured person.
Thank
a man. Can I say man, right? I can say man. You want for this?
I think what's the Jewish word? A mensch? I like
a mensch. Yes, exactly. A mensch. We are all multi kind of cultural people. We don't discriminate anybody unless those people discriminate against us. And even then we try to settle peacefully. But sometimes when it's overboard, we have to speak harsh words to each other, and those words are not necessarily a lie, but just to straighten each other up. This is the This is how you live in Brooklyn. This is how you live in New York. People were honest and should be honest and are honest with each other, and with few exceptions. We will come back strongly as a city. We come back strongly to what is called New York culture. Because people come here, they say, "Where's your New York? Where's your culture?" Garbage is everywhere. Everybody's yelling. And they're looking for something from the 30s movies, from the 40s movies.
No, I think we could do better. I'm sure
We can do better, and there were years when we did better. So
we can make Brooklyn great again.
we can make Brooklyn great again, even greater than great, I would say.
Well, let's just remind the audience, please, you got to come out, vote June 24th. Early voting starts June 14th to the 22nd. But please, you got to come out. You got to vote in this primary. Vote for the reliable Republicans, not, just vote for us. George Sarantopoulos, Ina, good Republicans who know what the hell they're doing.
Vote for George Sarantopoulos, New York City Council, District 47, a Republican. George, thank you so very much, and I'm looking forward to our next updates.
Thank you, Yuri, for having me on.